Okay, welcome. I'm going to, since I didn't get a chance to do a pre-match tactics video, we're going to try something a little different here, where I run through the video of our match a little bit and tell you kind of what I was trying to do and what didn't go well. This is the last match we just ran. You can see over here on the side with our fleets what I was running. I was the Rebels on this one. I had my GR75s, TRC Vet, a Pelta with APTs, and Shields to Maximum, and my Assault Frigate with all sorts of stuff on it. Paragon, which I've never run before. The idea here with Sato was to be able to throw black dice at things and do APT damage, all that stuff from far away, and not have to get close. The Pelta was going to be sacrificial. That was the idea. We're going to scrub forward here a little bit and hopefully get in through the setup phase. We put some obstacles out. So my plan with these obstacles was, since he had these two big ISDs, when we were placing them, I wanted to try and give him a way that he would have to run over them, because I had some more maneuverable ships and I was going to try and shoot at distance, and I didn't want to face these things head on, and I was going to try and make it so that I didn't have to. We're going to see really quickly that that didn't work. So he deployed his ISD first over here. We were playing Advanced Gunnery, I think is the name of it. And I chose my Assault Frigate because it had Paragon, so I would get that black die on my second shots. And he chose one of his ISDs. It was the one with the commander on it. So I'm going the wrong way. That's why it looks like the other things are coming up. So he puts his ISD out there, and I decide what I wanted to do. So what I ended up doing, oh, well, this is confusing. I'm up at the top now. What I ended up doing is I put my vet, I can highlight it so you can see. I put my vet up here, straight across from his ISD. The idea being that I was going to have to deploy my squads. I kind of wanted them in the middle a little bit to stay away from his Alpha Strike. He took a whole bunch of heroes, and I was afraid of them. This vet over here, the idea with him was to stay at distance, and I thought I could speed him up to get by the front arc of this ISD. I thought I could, get him here somewhere in a turn or two, and then going speed 2, which I deployed him at, have a token on there after the first turn, and then jump up to speed 4, so I'd get a shot off and be able to jump past his front arc and come in behind and maybe do some damage on all these things. We'll see that this part of my strategy actually worked pretty well. I was also really hoping, because I could see from the deployment of this, that I was going to be in a world of hurt, because there's nothing I can do to stop this thing from turning and coming around on all of my ships. Unless I deploy them all over here. And if I do that, then he takes his two ISDs, he puts the other one here, and they turn and go this way and pin me in against this wall. I didn't like any of those options. So I was really hoping I could bait him, because this is my commander, to come out here and try and get this guy. It almost worked. He had some moments of indecision. It didn't end up actually working that way for me. So there goes my commander, and he's going to put out some squads, and we switch to a different view. And I could have put out squads here, but I decided not to, because I wanted my squads more in the middle, because I still wasn't sure what he was going to do, and I have oftentimes stranded my squads where they aren't useful. The whole purpose with these squads was to absorb damage from any squads he had, and hopefully then maybe be able to be useful. I had Biggs with some, I had Biggs, Tycho, and not Biggs, Tycho, and Wedge. I had Biggs, Wedge, and Luke. They aren't in the right order there for whatever reason, but I had Biggs, Wedge, and Luke to absorb damage. Tycho, his purpose was to get close to a ship so that I could shoot at it. Jan was going to keep them all alive with her braces, and Ten Nub was he was gonna do a damage to all these things. I forgot that he what Mithril does, and he brought Mithril, which did some damage to me. So I put my squads out. We're jumping back and forth between the different views. Let's see if we can get an overhead view here at some point. And not yet. Okay, so I have all my squads out there. I put them out here by the transport. I kept Tycho a little ways away so he wouldn't get engaged, and he's fast, so, it actually doesn't matter if he gets engaged anyways. I just didn't want him in the mix of things. My Assault Frigate, the plan for that was for it to be able to come around the outside here, and hopefully get around this guy who I was really worried. I knew right now what his plan was. He was going to turn and come after me, and I really hoped he was going to bring this after my vet. And I was going to try and get my assault frigate around beside or behind this before it could turn. I mean, there's no way it was going to happen, so I was just hoping that something would happen, and it didn't. Also, I wanted to be able to get a double arc, even though I didn't need to, I guess. Did I? Because I had my my advanced gunnery, so just get my side arc on him so I could shoot twice, and that was my plan. The transports here actually have a blue dye on them. I brought the combat versions, and I've never done that before, and they did get to shoot at some stuff. Anyways, so that's the way that deployment went. I had my Pelta to get out still. Wasn't sure what I wanted to do with that. It ended up... I'm going the wrong direction again. That's going to confuse me every time. I ended up putting him right here because he goes speed 2. And this was a problem. I wanted to be able to use him at long range with his, and get some black dice with Sato out there to use the APTs and get them to go off. It never worked. My Pelta almost lived to get another shot in. You will see that later, but he ends up dying really quickly. So that's pretty much the setup. We'll go through a couple of movements here. My assault frigate goes first, and I move him. Great. I'm kind of setting up to hopefully get some long-range shots over there. I don't know why I decided turning him was a good idea. Maybe to get a little closer so that my red dice would actually be able to do something. In hindsight, bringing this guy and maybe trying to get around here and then get some shots in might have been a good idea, but then I was stranding everyone. Oh, I know why he turned in. I remember now. This has been a couple of days. I needed to be able to command these squads, and he has boosted comms, but I still wanted to be able to get at these guys, so I was trying to keep him close enough to be able to do something with them. That was what I was doing. Okay. Then he is deciding here if he wants to move that ISD at my... he had it set up to go that way a couple of times. To go up here at my my vet. See, he was maybe thinking about it. I was really hoping he was going to do that. But it turned out that he did not take the bait, and he turned it in towards my main formation. I wasn't happy about that because I was really, really, really hoping that he would kind of fly this here ISD out of the fight off over in this way, so I could get around and get some shots at him while I was concentrating on this Janus Light here, who he probably wasn't going to be able to kill because I was going to be able to jump past him with as fast as it was. The Pelta just can't do that. It's too slow. Anyway, so you can see I'm in a world of hurt. I have my whole formation here. I'm going to move my transports up into this area, and I'm going to have my whole formation flying straight at these two front arcs of these ISDs. And this one can shoot, and I didn't realize this. I thought it had to shoot at two different ships, like gunnery teams. But advanced gunnery lets him shoot at two different hull zones if he can on the same ship, and that was a frustration for me that I didn't know I was going to have. So I measure, I have a shot at him, took some shots, got confused about my trays, had to move them around, and we'll progress forward here. So we're kind of lining up. He then gets his squads into a nice little area here. I did not realize the power of his Alpha Strike. And so when he got his squads all into this little formation, I, being the smart person that I am, oh, hey, let's just bunch them all up here, you know, in this nice little cluster, because I forgot he has Mauler Mithril in this bunch, who he unfortunately hops in here and just decimates all these guys. And then he brings everyone that he can in and kills off. I think he focused on Wedge first, and it was all downhill from there. I got Alpha struck, and it was not pleasant, and I didn't like it, and it kind of wrecked my game, because then I didn't have my squads around to help out or do anything like I was kind of planning on having them. I was hoping maybe they'd even get some shots at these ISDs, but that was not to be. So he's going to activate first. And that is going to be his squads. They're going to hop in here, and they are going to do a number on him, everything. Here we are picking them all up. This was just depressing. And there went Wedge. He disappeared, and he moves his ISD. At this point, I'm not a happy camper. Not much I can do about it. I think the Pelta did have range here. I think that's about all I had range with. I tried some shots with 10 nub with my squads. It didn't work. I flew. The first thing I did, made sure I used a token that I had collected, and I flew Tycho off over there to be close to that Star Destroyer so that I could actually start using my black dice with Sato. So that's the one thing I did do right. I got Tycho over here, flew him over there, and I had banked a token with my Assault Frigate, luckily, to be able to get him over here so that I could then, I didn't make the mistake of activating my vet first, which was really tempting because then I could shoot at him. I did not do that. I smartly did it this way, sent Tycho over here so that I could then use black dice from anything that I had in range. So at least I did that right. And Tycho took a shot too and hit. Tycho actually did some damage. So now my Assault Frigate moves. I decided to bump him up to 3, I think, at this point, which probably should have left him at 2 one more turn and then bumped him to 3 the next turn. I was really trying to get in range for a shot at his Star Destroyer. Anyways, hindsight. So he is rolling... Oh well, I got confused about what's happening there. He's activating his ISD. He likes to put his dials out on the table, see, like this. I found this is really handy for when I go through these videos so I can tell what's being activated. So he's activating his ISD here. And he rolled some dice at my vet. Didn't really do much. He's sliding his ISD wherever he wants to. And now he's moving and trying to decide how fast he wants to go. He decided to try and get up in here and block my Pelta. I didn't know this was going to happen. These ISDs, my Pelta, he tries to go. I'm going to get blocked, back up, land on this here asteroid, or debris field asteroid, I think it is. And I'm going to be stuck there and end up taking a lot of damage that I don't need to be taking. I did not realize when I made this turn with the Pelta how fast these Star Destroyers here are. He can go from here all the way over to here. And my poor little Pelta with that big, huge base, he can only turn 1 and 1 facing this direction. He can go like this, that hits him. He can go like this, that hits him. There is nothing he can do about this, and he rams him. That's what ends up happening. Well, I won't. I'll let you see that later. I did have the fortune of getting a double arc on him here, which is kind of how I planned this to go with this guy. So that worked out well. Anyhow, it's my turn to activate something. I activate my this TRC-90, and he shoots at the Star Destroyer. Actually does some decent damage on the Star Destroyer. It does that a couple of times. We start stripping down the shields. That was my second shot. That is actually a pretty decent shot at the Star Destroyer. If you look here, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with a crit. That's not bad. I mean, he can brace that, he can redirect it, but I'm putting some damage with this little vet on this guy with Sato, because I get these 2 black dice and I had a concentrate fire. I think this is actually a side arc. And I did a... No, this must be my front arc. I don't remember. But either way, it was nice, and I had fun. Okay, and now I have to decide how to move my vet. I am going to try and keep him in range. I've decided I'm going to go to 2 or 3. Decided to go to 3, so hopefully I would be in range of either one of these guys, depending on how they move next turn, and be able to shoot at them. My transports are going. They took some squad commands, so we do some squad shooting. Then they flaked everything, and now my transports are going to decide where they want to go. I really wanted to try and stay out of his side arc, but there was no way that was going to happen. So I decided to try and give him another option to shoot at instead of my Pelta. It didn't work. He knew what the valuable target was. He didn't waste time shooting at my transports, so that didn't work out. I flew this guy down over here to hopefully be, someone that... Oh, no, I didn't. I lied. He didn't get flown anywhere. He got run over. So off we go. Forward in the turn. My Pelta now gets to go. It shoots. It does some damage. I don't get any APTs, which I was really frustrated about. And this is the only thing the Pelta really does. Because then the Pelta tries to move, 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 and rams and lands on the stupid asteroid. And we take crits. And mine... Unfortunately, I have to take 2 because I hit him and I landed on the asteroid. That really upset me. Anyways, so that was that. Okay. Now we're doing a lot of squad measuring. Yep. Is it in range? Is it not in range? Can we shoot at each other? What can we do? And 10 dub didn't work. I was frustrated about that. Okay. I believe now we're going to be moving into his activations again on turn 2. It should be turn 3 now. Oh, maybe he has a ship left. I get confused. It is turn 3. It says so up there. So he did a squad command. His squads did some attacking. I mean, he's pretty much polished off all of my squads by this point. It's a disaster. And now he's going to shoot at my Pelta. Yep, that wasn't very nice. You can see he did some damage. So my Pelta takes a bunch of damage cards. You'll notice that it conveniently took 1, 2, 3, 4 damage cards. Oh good, I'm going to get a shot off. Well, nope, scratch that idea because the ISD is going to move and it is going to ram my Pelta. I take the extra damage card and I am dead. Which, it's too bad. I didn't even get a shot off. Okay. My transport, I don't know if my transport's going here. I don't know which one's going. I think it's my transport. He shot. He got to use his black dice shooting at the ISD because he has a blue die on the front. He's going to try and move and escape from where the ISD is, which in hindsight, I don't know if it was a good idea or not, but he did. He escaped. Okay. Now we're activating the other Star Destroyer, who is shooting at long range at both arcs because he can. I was really upset about that, of my assault frigate. Yep, we measured it. He can do both arcs. And he's trying to decide where to go. Okay. And now my vet is going. He took a squad command. He moved Tycho into range. Good thing I did that. And Tycho is going to shoot, and then the vet shoots. Vet did some damage. The vet shoots again. That was actually a pretty good roll. And the Star Destroyer is getting pretty weak by this point. And so my vet is flying around. He's going to slow down to 2 so as not to get too far out in front of that Star Destroyer. Measuring range. I do have range on it from my assault frigate, so that's good. And now, here we go. We are measuring, we are rolling with the assault frigate on that Star Destroyer. Did some damage, and I can do it twice. Did some more damage. Too bad the assault frigate doesn't have APTs. That would be really cool. All those black dice from long range with that assault frigate, that was really awesome. And he had ordnance experts, so I can re-roll them. I mean, that was really a lot of fun, and I enjoyed this about Sato. I mean, I'm throwing black dice all the way across here. It's really cool, and I get some pretty cool rolls. And that is enough to do in that Star Destroyer. Unfortunately, I have this problem here. I have this guy right here, just ready to kill me, and I'll save you the suspense, but that is about what ends up happening. So, I'm going 3, and I'm trying to choose a way to keep myself out of the front arc, or keep only one arc pointed at his front arc so that I don't have to, take double shots. For reasons that I don't understand, I decided I only wanted to be in his front arc. I mean, I could have gone, I really think I could have gone all the way around over there, and that might have been the smart thing to do. But I didn't. I decided to slow way down, ram him, and then sit right in front of him. I think the idea was to not take a double shot from him. I did succeed. I did succeed somewhat in this, in that his front couldn't shoot this hull zone and also shoot my side hull zone. I got here in a way that he could only hit my front hull zone, so he only gets one shot at me. Instead of if I had come over here, he might have been able to get 2 shots at me with his front hull zone. That was what I was really, really concerned about. I was hoping that he was not going to be able to command these squadrons. I was not going to be happy in my hopes there. So we measured, he can't get both sides. But now, what does he do? Takes a squad command, and he plinks away at me with some really good rolls. Look at that. 2 hits, 3 hits. And it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And here we go. More squads coming down to kill me. Oh, look at that. A double hit. more hits. This assault frigate is dying by nicks and cuts. Yep, that one got changed into a crit, which is a double hit. And then he uses Jendon to shoot at me again. And another hit. And then the Star Destroyer shoots at me. And this is what it rolls. It's 2 accuracies and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 damage. My assault frigate damage is right here. It's 1, 2, and I have 6. So I have a brace that I can use. So I can brace that down to 3. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that'd be 5 damage. But unfortunately, this first damage I took, this first crit, was a structural, so I had to take another damage card. And so I end up being 5 damage on this assault frigate, which is, there they are, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is 1 away from dying. And guess what he can do when he moves? Yep, you guessed it. He can ram me. And he shot at my vet, and here he goes. Ram City, dead assault frigate. This is pretty much the way the game ends. We called it here. It was really, really unfortunate that these squads all came down here, rolled really, really well. I mean, that's the game. I could have flown better. I liked this fleet. I liked the way it flew. I thought that it went pretty well. The Pelta getting stuck in this area against that other Star Destroyer, that I didn't like. That was a real problem. If we scroll back time here to where my problems really start happening, it's here. I do really, really like what I did with my vet. I think this was a great move to bait him out over here and try and get him to come off and chase me. Just didn't work. But this vet did some serious damage and threw out a lot of black dice with Sato. The Pelta, so unfortunately, got stuck here and landed on this and got rammed to death before he got. I wanted him to get off a couple of shots. He only got off the one. That was really too bad. This guy, I flew pretty well. He was there to push squads if he needed to, and throw some dice and do some flacking. He did all those things. He's pretty effective. My squads, I flew very ineffectively. His hero units that he had here were very, very effective. Having those guys in there, getting Vader to shoot twice, it was just a disaster for my poor squads. Even with Biggs trying to spread damage around, everyone died before they could do anything. I don't think Wedge or Luke ever got off any shots that were useful. My assault frigate, I didn't play too badly. He died to some really good rolls, and he died by 1 damage before he would have gotten another shot off. Now, when he finally got down here and in front of this ISD, he wasn't going to survive another round. He would have gotten some shots off, maybe been able to wound the ISD here, and maybe if he had been able to get off 2 shots from his side arc on this ISD, I would have been able to bring around my vet to be able to, finish him off. Maybe. Probably not, but at least I would have had a better chance. My overall strategy, since this is where Mahdi lived, at the very beginning of the game, I said, I'm going to take that one out so I don't have to chew through 14 hull twice. And then I can take out this guy with his 11 hull much more easily. I was not left with a way to do that, either by my poor deployment or his good deployment by keeping this one back and having this one out here. It just didn't work out for me. Well, there you have it. That's kind of my downfall in this game. I do really like this fleet. I have some new variations of this I've switched out the Pelta. I have one fleet where I have put in a torpedo frigate instead of the Pelta. I have another fleet where I've put in a Neb B gunship, a Salvation, on there. So he can throw black dice, and with concentrate fire, he has a pretty nasty front arc. If I can get Sato to get a ship, to use his ability with a squad close to a ship, that Neb B is going to be a serious contender. I did like the combat retrofits on these transports. It wasn't extra expensive, and it allowed me to be able to shoot some black dice at ships with this thing. That's kind of fun. I took Torren Farr off of this in my builds because someone pointed out somewhere Torren Farr is basically just swarm for anything that's in range, including a ship. But I ended up not having many blue dice ships, and I thought Torren Farr was kind of a waste of points. I kept the assault frigate pretty much the same, only I took off the boosted comms because I decided to go with a whole bunch of rogue squadrons. Now I know rogue squadrons kind of get a bad rap because they're expensive, and it's easier just to push squads, and it's more economical that way. But I thought maybe having some rogue squads with Sato would allow me to be able to move my squads when I want to, if I can free them up if they aren't tied down. And I don't have to worry about giving them commands. So I can spread my fleet out, spread my squads out, and if I do that, he can't alpha strike me, at least not all my squads, on one turn with a big ball like this. He'll have to take out my squads one at a time, moving every turn. And if I have, 6 or 7 squads, it's going to take him 6 or 7 turns to get to all my squads. And so that might help. We'll see. So I have some rogue squads in there, and some of them are pretty formidable. They're some of the heroes. It's kind of an experimental fleet, but I do like this Sato build. I really, really, really was pleased with how well this TRCR 90 did, with the TRCs and then black dice. That was really cool. I liked having the ordnance experts on this to be able to reroll those blacks. I got some great damage. I just needed to find a way to get APTs, and there isn't. It's this or a torpedo frigate, and I don't have hammerheads and things like that. So those are my options right now. So I'm going to try the Neb B or maybe the torpedo frigate in this combination with some different squads that can maybe stand up a little better. Some hero rogues, and some, basically my rogues. I have some generic rogues in there too. But yeah, that's the way this went. The final score looked pretty bad. I thought I played better than the final score was. I would have probably ended up having been tabled. I might have been able to save my bet. Who knows? But before this drags out much longer, that's pretty much it. And thanks for watching. I'll try and put end notes on this, or end screens on this, so it'll be linked over to the actual full-length video of the match. And thanks for watching.